Greetings, heroes of Arkesia. The three of us are excited to be here today to share the first Lost Ark roadmap of 2026 with all of you. We're going to be taking a look at our content plans for January through April and take a moment to reflect on some of our favorite moments from another incredible year in Arkesia. Before we get things started, I'm Roxx, Marketing and Community Lead on Lost Ark, and I'm joined today by Matt, our Associate Franchise Lead, and Henry, Senior Producer on the game. As we close out 2025, we wanted to take a moment to look back at everything we've accomplished together this year. From finally facing Kazaros to the release of new classes and so many other moments, it's been an amazing journey, and we're grateful to have shared it with such a passionate community. I think my favorite thing from the past year was definitely the Valk release. I know that was like a huge moment that so many players were waiting for, and that's just such a cool class. But I want to know what your favorites were too.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much with this last year that we accomplished. I mean, Valkyrie was a great release, but I just think for me personally, like the summer update was the biggest thing. Like we made a lot of changes. Hannah and I had a lot of discussions. I think it was just a great time overall for both internal and, the players as a whole.
Oh yeah.
Can I have two?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. So my first favorite moment of the year, kind of expanding on what Matt was talking about like some of the discussions leading up to the release of the big summer updates with Paradise and everything, was a trip Matt and I took to Korea to meet with a lot of the Smilegate leadership to talk through the development of Paradise. And specifically, we've been talking about it all day, and then we went out to Korean barbecue where we were supposed to just relax with some of the designers from Smilegate. And we ended up just talking about the implementation and riffing on Paradise for another 3 or 4 hours at dinner over some amazing food. I think that moment, just getting to work on the game and then see that release, was just such an awesome string of events. And then it's got to be Kazaros, right? Because the Prague experience was so much fun for Kazaros. The fight was awesome, the music, it really felt like a really good culmination for that storyline for me. And I had an absolute blast playing it with my friends.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really cool to see that come to fruition too, and watch the first mode race. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sweet. So, we'd love to hear what your favorite moments of 2025 were. So feel free to share those with us in the comments. Now, looking ahead to the new year, we have some exciting updates. Today, we're going to be focusing on the major content pieces for each month, but as always, keep in mind we're going to highlight the big features here. We're not going to dive deeply into some of the smaller updates and adjustments you'll see later this year, and as always, we'll be following up in the coming months with more detailed team updates, patch notes, and all of those things where we can kind of dig into specifics and share those additional details as things continue to develop. We have a lot to cover, so we're going to jump right in and talk about what 2026 will bring.
All right, so first up is going to be Nukeman's Illusion Stone. So in January, we're going to have a new type of collectible. To give it a little backstory here, the first elder of the Yaz, Nukeman, sent a crescent moon-shaped stone in the night sky to give the Yaz people hope and courage. It holds the enlightenment and emotions that Nukeman had experienced, but over time, it shattered into pieces, and it's up to you to collect them and put them together once again. So once you start the adventure quest, the journey to find Nukeman's Illusion Stones will begin. After you complete the quest to unlock the system, you can start collecting the pieces. Collected pieces can be exchanged for valuable rewards.
So the other big piece of content coming in January is going to be Extreme Thaymine. Thaymine Extreme is an event based on Thaymine Gate 4 hard mode with some patterns and difficulty adjusted. It's a throwback to what is, in my personal opinion, one of the best fights in Lost Ark's history. While very similar to the original Thaymine Hard Gate 4, there's a few changes, including a resurrection at the 4-2 battle workshop and a system where successfully landing just guards can provide buffs for both yourself and, if you succeed enough, the whole team. The raid can be entered once a week per roster and is going to be around for a limited time. Thaymine Extreme offers both first clear rewards and a set of weekly rewards through an event NPC shop. We're looking into making some difficulty adjustments from when it released in Korea to balance for Arc Grid and other systems, since we kind of switched up the timing with Kazaros' release. And we'll follow up with the full suite of key information as we head towards its release.
Awesome. So 2 other quick notes for January that we know you'll be looking forward to. The winners of the recent community emote competition are going to be added into the game, and January will feature the next Arc Pass, which has some pretty cool cosmetics, the Day and Night Minister skins.
And then we're on to February. So February, we're going to have the latest class. And I know there's been a lot of talk amongst the community or whether we're going to keep it Guardian Knight, but we're actually going to be switching it to Dragon Knight in the West. You can expect that class release will be accompanied by the latest wave of progression events. If you're not already seeing the class in KR, she wields a massive halberd as her primary weapon, but also uses hardened wing scales and other abilities to stem from her unique past. And I know you like lore, Roxx, so...
Yeah, to expand on that, the Dragon Knight has a tragic past. She was raised and cared for by a dragon-type guardian named Empress. One day, Empress was slain by a mysterious figure who led the large host of forces into the dragon's home. However, the bond between Empress and the Dragon Knight was so powerful that she was able to imbue her with special draconic and guardian powers from beyond death, which the Dragon Knight uses to devastating effect when manifesting them on the battlefield.
So the Dragon Knight has 3 types of skills. There's normal skills using the halberd weapon, manifest skills that pull upon the energy granted to her by the Guardians, and incarnation skills, which modify the manifest skills to new heights when channeling the full powers of Empress. When using skills while transformed, they gain additional powers and even change the tripods on the skills. However, gems are still shared across the different versions of those skills.
So we're going to be releasing another South Remeria Power Pass to all players to accompany the release of the Dragon Knight class. We're working to bring the latest balance changes coming from Korea as soon as we can, especially for classes with some pretty impactful changes. We plan to merge both of the last balance patches and release them together in February. This will be a great opportunity for you to use the Power Pass on Dragon Knight or any other class you've got your eye on. It's also going to be accompanied by other major progression events, some of which are still being discussed given the regional differences, but we'll provide more updates as we head towards February. Overall, though, I'm really looking forward to seeing players get their hands on this class. I probably won't main swap, but I'll definitely adding it to my roster. I think one thing for me is that I'm really excited about is just the dragon lore.
It's
and
pretty cool.
Yeah, and being able to, morph into a dragon. I know there's 2 different specs. I don't think I'm gonna focus too much on the halberd spec, but I've been watching a lot of class play on the dragon focus, and switching tripods looks really fun to play.
Yeah, it looks like a ton of fun. I bet you're already locked in with what you're doing.
Yeah, I normally play back attack, so front attack classes are harder for me, but I think the Hitmaster spec that's more of the transformation based, the dragon animations just look sweet. So, sometimes you just got to make a class for how awesome it looks. That's how I feel with my machinist class. So I'm excited to try out the Dragon Knight, and I think probably going to go in the main 6 for sure.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. To pair with the release of the new class and latest wave of events, there's going to be an overhaul to the character creation flow that adds a class testing option before character selection. There's going to be an early story revamp and a better milestone mission to help players learn the basics as they embark on their journey in Arkesia. This is also going to be when we release the progression changes to Tier 3 that adjust the honing experience, including removing gold costs from Tier 3, removing gear honing altogether for lower Tier 3 honing like Belshazzar gear, and adding some new quality of life features to honing such as bulk honing. There's also going to be the new smart facet feature for cutting ability stones, which should save a good amount of time and hopefully help some people that don't have the feel for the system.
You don't need to set up mouse macros.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting for some of those newer players to get in and get through it.
Yeah.
On top of all that, in February, we are going to have our 4th anniversary, and with it, a 4th anniversary event. We're not going to share too much about that yet, but what I can say is we've kind of come up with some neat ideas for it that I'm really excited to see. And you might see another familiar face aside from me and Matt. I wonder who that could be.
I don't know.
I don't know. It might be Thyrane. Who's to say? We'll see in February. So all in all, with the 4th anniversary, expect a new event quest line, some new NPCs, and of course, a lot of generous rewards for our players. We're really looking forward to that, and I hope you enjoy that too.
We're also going to move forward with the major content simplification that was recently announced in Korea. As we head toward the update, we'll do a write-up and reminder so it's all spelled out for you, but I'm going to hit on the highlight reel quickly to give some advance notice. The Book of Coordination is going to be removed from the game, along with the content that used it, including Proving Grounds, Inferno Raid content, earlier Trial Guardian raids other than Hanumatan, and also Tower content, along with weekly Unas. If there are pieces of content in there that you want to experience before it goes away, you have about 2 months. Personally, I might try and snag a Helltan title for fun. Along with the content removal, there's also going to be a bit of a content reward restructuring for daily and weekly activities. Guardian Stones and Destruction Stones obtained from Curzon Front and Chaos Dungeons have been changed from tradable items to character-bound items, and the quantity has been increased. Honing materials obtained from Fate Embers that appear during the Curzon Front and Chaos Dungeons have been changed from character-bound to tradable items, and Destiny Shards are now obtained in the form of tradable pouches. Gems, accessories, bracelets, and ability stones will no longer be obtained from Curzon Front and Chaos Dungeons. Instead, Guardians at Trial of Vergris Stage 5 and above will drop gems appropriate to the Guardians tier, and Guardians at Purification Stage 2 and above now drop Luminous Gem Shards. The drop quantities of accessories, bracelets, and ability stones from Guardian raids have been increased. Guardian Stones, Destruction Stones, and Leap Stones are no longer obtainable from Guardian raids though. Clearing a Chaos Gate will grant character-bound gold, and higher level Chaos Gates grant a greater amount of character-bound gold upon completion. The Chaos Gates below item level 1580 have been removed though. Up next, Field Bosses. The amount of Guardian Stones and Destruction Stones obtained from defeating the South Curzon Field Boss Sevek Atun will be significantly increased. Defeating Sevek Atun will also grant tradable Leap Stones. The type of Leap Stone obtained corresponds to the character's item level bracket. Characters below item level 1580 will no longer obtain honing materials when defeating Field Bosses. There's a ton more specifics in this category, so once again, we're going to reiterate all of this in a team update as we head toward the February update that has all this restructuring, new progression events. There's going to be a ton. Just be on the lookout as we start to finalize some of that information.
And next, we're moving into March, where we have Paradise Season 3.
Orbs!
So we'll be launching the third season of Paradise. Overall, we're really happy with how the system turned out, with the different types of gameplay loops it provides, along with the accelerated progression for all characters. We definitely worked with Smilegate to implement some feedback that everyone had from Season 1 into Season 2, from how upgrading gear worked to some of the gameplay patterns coming from the gear upgrades themselves, along with changing the early drop rates for gear. You've already experienced some of the changes, but with the season still progressing, there should be some more interesting gameplay at the end with the 5 additional Crucible levels. We'll continue to be on the lookout for feedback throughout Season 2 and are excited for the continuation of the system in Season 3.
So on top of all of those changes to Paradise, the story marking the end of Chapter 1 of Lost Ark, which has been a multi-year battle against Kazaros and his forces, will draw to a close in the final story quest, titled The One Who Confronted the Abyss's End. It's a continuation of the story directly after the last cutscene in Kazaros' denouement, and features a final battle against Kazaros and Petrania. We don't want to share any other spoilers for those who are excited to experience it firsthand, but it's going to serve as a conclusion to Part 1 of Lost Ark's story. It's a pretty lengthy quest, so a knowledge transfer will be added to it as well, but I definitely encourage you to go through that and see what happens next. With March wrapping up Chapter 1, we'll also begin the next chapter of Lost Ark in April, with the battle beginning against the primordial beings in the first Shadow Raid. The primordial beings are mythical creatures who wander in search of a meaning and sense of self, and who can take various forms in that pursuit. This chapter of Lost Ark will contain some dark stories, and that will be reflected in some of the upcoming raids.
The first Shadow Raid will be facing Circa, the Witch of Pain. There's going to be 3 difficulties: Normal at item level 1710, Hard at 1730, and Nightmare at 1740. And it's a 4-player raid with 2 gates. In Gate 1, you're going to face off against Circa, a sadistic witch who enjoys torturing others. This is going to be followed by Gate 2, where you'll see the primordial being's true form, and you'll battle Corbus Tul Lark, the one who took the form of Circa the Witch.
And while the raid will provide Arc Grid cores, the main progression system from the Circa Shadow Raid will be a new set of Tier 4 gear. This time around, less time will be needed to farm materials for crafting gear, but there will be a new acceleration system added using the same materials as crafting. Crafted gear can be honed up to level 20 and plus 25 when accelerated.
The new Nightmare difficulty will be similar to some of the harder past raids' hard mode, like Kazaros and Thamine, to provide a bit more challenge. Hard mode will instead be in between the current difficulty of normal and hard, and normal mode will be an easier experience to help learn the raid. Gear progression materials will only be dropped in hard mode and Nightmare, no materials in normal mode. Nightmare mode will provide the same amount of gear materials, but will provide more cores, more gold, and more items in the loot auction, like 2 relic books.
There will also be some changes in raid systems for this Shadow Raid. You'll go straight to the boss room, so no more trash mobs. There won't be any HP recovery when the boss goes berserk, and there are 2 new systems, the new Brawl system which adds a unique action, and a shadow skill, where you can steal a skill from the boss to use in battle. On top of that, the revive system in the Circle Shadow Raid will be called Brave Hearts, which shares the revive count between the party members.
So the Shadow Raid's going to be the big focus for April, and that kind of brings us to the end of the full roadmap. We know there's a few other things announced at Loa On that we haven't talked through yet. Some of that will be in the next roadmap. Other things we're still looking for some windows to maybe release throughout this. Like one thing, the Vault and Argos funny mashup event, still trying to identify a time for that since they couldn't make it in for the holiday. But yeah, this is a big look at the content.
Yeah, that's a great first look. And with everything we've shared today, as we look back on all we've accomplished together in 2025, I know we're incredibly excited about what lies ahead for Lost Ark in 2026. Thanks for joining us today for this first roadmap of the year. For all of you watching, we have a community question. What are you most looking forward to in the months ahead? I know for me, talking through it all, Chapter 1 of Lost Ark has come to a close, right? Kazaros was something you were really excited about in the past year, and we're having that kind of final moment. And then, Chapter 2 is opening this whole new page in the book for Lost Ark. Like, the primordial beings, the shadow raids, it's going to be really excited to see that kind of content and all the related content develop into its own whole new thing.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because there's a lot of mysteries that have kind of been hinted at in Chapter 1 of the lore with everything that's going on with Sacria. They showed up as both the bad guys in some scenarios and the good guys in others. So expanding on that story as we start diving into everything with the primordial beings and the Sacrian Church, I think will be really cool. I'm definitely excited for the end of Chapter 1 and also just excited for the Shadow Raid. Some of the mechanics and patterns from the trailer and what we've seen look really cool. So definitely look forward to our first 4-player raid in a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah,
I think for me, the horizontal stuff with Nukeman's Illusion Stones in January is going to be a kind of a nice change of pace. And then, of course, Dragon Knight.
Yeah.
On top of all the stuff we got coming into February and the anniversary, a lot of cool things to look forward to and a lot of fun things to see the players take on too.
Yeah, I think you made a good point about that class too, is the lore and story behind that class is just really unique and different in a way that's very cool to be exploring with the class for the first time.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to celebrate from this year and like we're talking about, even more to look forward to. So thank you for joining us today, and as always, we'll see you in this new year in Arkesia.